Welcome back, everyone, to game number 2 of Week 8 of Auzom Premier League NA. We had a great game last one that ended straight dead center of Pochinki, and we did see the new ending circle in the patch at work. And this next circle is very, very south on game number 2. Wow, this is bad.
Man, talk about the last game a little bit more. Everything was looking to be a normal game until like that one circle where it's just like, oh no, we're going Pachinki here in the end game, and it got really hectic at that point. A lot of players probably learning a little bit about blue tanking and experiencing for the first time, as well as you said, the new circle, the way the new circle behaves there at that final bit. Less time and dead center is where it'll end up. I really, really like that change, to be honest. But going into game 2. I don't think we're going to see it again, but hey, who knows?
We've seen repeat circles a couple of times. I believe yesterday, Stream Me NA, we saw like the same circle 2 games in a row up northeast of Severny.
It's possible.
Yeah, but so it's possible, but you know, I'm hoping that it's not just if anything, so we can have a variety of games, see a variety of different play styles come into play here instead of just everyone go to Pachinki and hold your breath. Anyway,
pretty messy here on the southwest side, I gotta say. Wildcard dropping, getting Primorse themselves. It was like Tempo Storm, as well as a couple of those guys on Envious getting a bit caught out as they don't have a compound, they don't have a car, and they're next to a city with a full squad in it. Okay, so Kaisuko does have a UMP. He does have some bullets as well, so we might be able to get this down to kickstart. This is a bit dangerous. One shot hitting. Another one, only need to land one more. He does have a reload, thank goodness. Kickstart, can he get out of this?
It's a little rough going up that hill.
Oh, is he out? Oh, he still has ammo.
A little bit, but the vehicle's too far away. And now, actually, look, there's backup coming. Tumai coming up. I'm assuming he has a gun of his own if he's chasing up the Kaisuko like this. I don't think Kaisuko knows necessarily that someone's right behind him. And here, the Scar shots are going to be ringing out. Land a couple onto him. Now, bringing him down incredibly low as well. In turn, Kaisuko tries to get behind a tree, get the reload in the UMP, and try and fight back. But Tumai is going to continue on the chase, only using iron sights, but can't get the last couple of shots.
Scar and suck.
Yeah,
so bad.
It's pretty bad. The iron sights here are pretty awful. You can just see for yourselves right now what's happening.
Oh,
but look at this. Big start with the vehicle driving up.
Oh my god!
Gonna finish it off using his tires.
Oh my god, he even brought Pride with him. He was like, hey, dude, check this out. Let me show you what happens if you drive someone over like that. Oh my goodness. And even for a bit of a rough start, but it's going to be pretty bad for both of these squads going into the late game. And the flight plan, not too nice, the zone either. Southwest to a bit of an eastern approach, while the zone going far northeast. Render are feeling pretty happy, United as well on the south side, but everyone else has a long way to go to get to this new zone.
Yeah, I would have said that they would have been okay, the team down in Primorse, because they dropped immediately. They could get land in the city, but because of that action dealing with them and the opposing team getting that kill, they had to take that in time, investment of time, get that kill, which means that only now they're able to go back and continue their looting, continue their early game routes, and then make that transition later. And so we could see them have to come in late because of it, potentially punished by any team gatekeeping the southwest edge.
On the bright side, by playing so close to the corner anyway, they're kind of locked into gatekeeping anyway. So in some ways, it's like, okay, we have less time to loot, but at the same time, were we really going to send her early anyway with, like, you know, Yaz being the center when we're in Primorse? It might not be that bad, especially if the zone goes Primorse, or not Primorse, Stalber. But if it heads up south, then yeah, you're right. It's going to be really bad if they have to, like, fight over a compound that is nigh eastern area.
Yeah, I mean, it's the early game. The first couple of circles, nothing is too much of a threat when you come in or not, unless, of course, there's a lot of water in play, which in this case there isn't. So, honestly, this isn't really that bad of a situation, you know, considering that, but nonetheless, they're going to have to make a long transition. And I'm curious to see if any of these teams on the west side want to come in super late or not. Tempo Storm, they used to be doing that all the time. They've kind of dialed back from that recently, unless it's a military circle. So I wonder if this particular circle is going to entice them to be doing the same. United now.
Look at this timing.
Yep, coming out of shelter just while the buggy arrives. But Jimmer, he's not going to be picking him up, actually, and Jimmer's going to be going back down. Perhaps because a leveled up piece of equipment is down there. In fact, Jimmer only has a shotgun, so there's probably another gun down there. Even if it's only an SMG, it's still something extra to pick up.
And here I was thinking they're going to have this really sexy time where he pulls up just in time. Oh my god, as a Carnage 8 double-barreled shotgun, hopefully United finds something.
We
that
Cowboys
loadout,
now.
That loadout, while stylish, is ineffective at certain ranges. So we'll see if we get something else later in the game. Crate dropping here in the western side, though, isn't going to be the God Gun, the 249. It's going to be another AUG. Okay.
But with the 15x scope. Yeah, this is
I think it goes on.
This is the third AUG, I think, that we've seen this series so far.
All right. Looks like
yeah,
a
I don't know
couple
if
of
anyone's
other
gonna be picking
guys.
that one up. Perhaps Cloud9 are gonna be picking it up on their travels through. But oftentimes when you see a team in the middle of a transition, if they come across a crate like this that's already in the circle, they don't want to take the risk to stop because there could be a team in the compounds or the hills northeast or east of them
It's pretty
to
risky either way.
support. Exactly. So depending on how, depending on their equipment, if they need an extra gun, yeah, sure, maybe they'd stop for it. But for the most part, you oftentimes see teams just drive past it just because it's not worth the risk.
So it looks like we're about at that 1 minute before shrink point, which means that a lot of these guys that are playing Edge, if they want to, will be sending players in. Looks like a Rift of Set to Destroy will be the ones that are coming in. They got absolutely wrecked by Shoot to Kill previously. In fact, I think it was Rift himself that got the wrong end of a UAZ in his face. He's currently made amends with the UAZ race and is using one himself. But the question is where is he going? There's a lot of compounds on this east side that are currently empty. But at this point, we don't even know which of the river that's going to be in right now. So it could be on the east side, around where Ayuzawa and the rest of the guys on Ghost Gaming are. Or it could be further west, around over there where Squad 14, that Shoot to Kill is. It's kind of hard to tell right now here in Circle 1.
Ooh, McCoy's already here in this compound, but EU United want to stake their own claim on it. McCoy sees Jimmer drive around trying to scout it out. But look at this. It's like those old Native American horses surrounding fabric-covered trolleys. Nonetheless, McCoy taking some shots, lands a couple of them, scares them away, but that's 3 versus 1. 4 versus 1, I should say. And he is going to be on the losing end of that one. Doesn't even get a drop before he gets fully removed from the server. Second player down, and Ghost are gonna. This is such a good compound, but Ghost are gonna have to find somewhere else to go to now.
He died pretty fast there. He got sprayed down pretty quickly. That's what happens when you do a 4v1. He didn't take shots early enough, which means that United had no reason not to crash it. That four-player crashing style, very all in. We can see how it can work out here. Whereas if someone's in there, who cares if they're a scout? Who's gonna lose a 4v1? That almost never happens. Meanwhile, though, we do see the opposite of that. Whereas if you don't have a 4-man, and if your team gates, you're sending out your scout early. You're seeing if the combat you're going for is occupied, looking for signs of life. Is anyone been there? Is there a car parked? Are there open doors? Looks like with Mossy here, he's making a little bit of noise here on this hill, but he has been able to identify that, yeah, this area is pretty clear right now, and his teammates that are currently in that Rozak area should be able to use that information to be able to get a little bit closer to the zone center.
God Squad here, grouping up before they make their final rotation out of Military Beast just before the blue overtakes them. But, what?
Such Destroy is coming into Yaz late. We don't see teams coming into City as late often.
This is true. But Yaz is big enough, and I guess they scouted something out, and just looking at the path that they were able to bomb directly into this apartment building, it's actually not that bad. But I do agree, it is very interesting to see it happen, because you usually don't see that happen until later. Perhaps they're getting a little PTSD of last game, saying, oh, it ended on a City last game, let's get in there early now just in case.
I mean, that didn't end up well for them, but they are holding an apartment this time. It looks like Render, they heard it but aren't willing to take a fight at all. And when you're in Yaz, this is a very big city, especially pulling up in the apartments. You do not want to be pushing someone if you know they're in an apartment building. So Render pulling back west to their own apartments. They have their own vehicles already lined up here as well. They will be nice and ready to move when the next circle decides to show itself.
Nova now also arriving not to Yasnaya, but rather to the yellows in the field south of it. The final transitions are continuing to finish up. Where did Ghost end up going? Oh, okay, yeah. So they went up there.
Sneaky.
Yeah, sorry, I saw them on another hill earlier, and they just completely, in the blink of an eye, and by blinking behind me, we were somewhere else, completely rotating us. So no real contact going to be happening just yet. Unlike last game, this circle is fully open, essentially. It's going to be a pretty much even spread. It's not until the second circle and after on that we're going to see teams really start to butt heads at each other. Right now, it's all about scouting out, but that being said, an 8x on top of a Scar, there's some good opportunities, at least for some poke damage. You see Quinn trying to lay some onto Ghost, but nothing really sticking except for pressure.
Yeah, zone's about 2/3 of the way done. So these guys all in a relatively centralized spot. I'd be surprised to see any of these locations completely ousted by the next zone. But either way, it's important to get some pressure out, let everyone know where you are, saying don't push me. Actually, it's a little further south than I thought, so they might have to leave if it ends up going to that Stalber area. But this centralized area in the zone, once again, we're seeing quite a few teams that are trying to grab these really centralized spots, but they're definitely sticking more to the south side. You know, a lot of that northern area, a lot of that real estate mostly empty. And that's because if it sticks up south and you're already here, then great. But if it ends up going north, you know, there's a lot of opportunities to play on foot. You don't need to be there if it ends north. So most of the teams putting all their cards on the south side. If it ends here, great, we got a good spot. If it goes north, whatever, we have our cards to transition that way anyway.
A lot of teams also looted up on the southern side, just if you remember how southward the original plane was.
Yeah.
You don't usually want to cross center of the circle if you don't have to. And so that's also another reason why you see so many people staying on this southern side.
All right, we had a bit of a crash, so we should be able to get back into the game pretty shortly. But we were at a point in the game right around the end of that first shrink where most of the teams have found themselves settled down. And the big question that's going to be asked next, Cammy, is where's the zone going? Is it going to be going north? Because if it goes north, that's going to be really messy. If it stays south, a couple of those guys on the northwest side, I think that was Team 14 Shoot to Kill that was there. And I think that the guys on Cloud 9 are also pretty edge as well. But unless it's going Stalber, then most of our teams are going to be in a pretty good spot to just kind of chill out. Kind of like how we saw in game 1 in that farm area. But it looks like, oh my god, we're actually able to get back in the game before the shrink even ends. Man, good game, good optimization.
Couple of knocks actually dead center. I think Wheaties box rejects. They lost one of their players who got separated from the rest of his team. So interesting how that happened. But nonetheless, unfortunately, we didn't see how it happened. So I'm not even going to try and guess. I'm going to try and assume he's going to crawl and bleed.
I'm going to guess. I think it was Team Gates.
Oh, okay, yeah, it was probably Team Gates that did it. I just been why. Oh, and look at this. Another hard swing up northeast. Yasnaya and Stalber are going to be the two split major locations in this one. And so because of that, we're going to be seeing a lot of teams try and make those wrap transitions up around Yasnaya if they don't want to go directly into it. And this early into the game, I'm curious to see how many teams want to go into Yasnaya and not forced into it.
Oh my god,
but just
look at the south side.
This trail. Look at this trail of vehicles all trying to go up onto the mountain.
Oh my god, this is absolutely ridiculous. All these cars going in. Nova is going to be first by far, but actually Landune getting out, trying to take shots at passing cars with the rest of his squad, trying to find a spot and really something centered up. Looks like Nova, despite being first, are using their early transition to try and kill other people get in transitioning instead of getting a spot early on.
Vitality also stopping to do the same thing. It's going to be Ghost coming right past them. Taking a couple of shots, and it's going to be a vehicle explosion dropping Profi. It's just Turtle and McCoy left. They are able to make it past, or sorry, Turtle and Balak left, able to make it past, able to feed through EU United onto their east, but they may be driving directly into the northern two of the pair of Nova. Looks like they're going to stop at this yellows, or at least be forced to, because their vehicle got tilted. Balak gets taken out of the vehicle. Turtle pops out manually and tries to run in, but he gets taken out, and so Ghost go out first in this game due to a very, very rough transition through Yasnaya.
It really shows how important those vehicle driving skills are. And you know, if that was the UAZ, it might have been different. But that Dacia, once you lose your speed, it is very hard to get it back up. Meanwhile, though, it looks like a lot of teams have finished their movement on the southern side. God Squad coming in last, as they usually do, into those yellows that Nova had vacated earlier. They're probably going to be able to see totality soon, but it's going to be pretty hard to fight from those angles. Meanwhile, on the northwest side, still more teams transitioning late into the Stalber area. That's Cloud9, Envious, as well as Team Gates. I don't even know how they got there, but they've been driving for quite a while at that point, actually vacating the southern area entirely. And honestly, with how many teams are here right now, I'm counting, let's just see, like 7 teams here in that southern, like eastern Yasnaya area. I wouldn't want to be here if I was, honestly.
Exactly. Totality, you saw them, they stopped early and dealt heavy, massive damage to Ghost, and so, but now they're going to pop back in the vehicles, continue to drive in, and they are going to grab themselves a tiny little corner in the police station area of Yasnaya. It's a pretty isolated spot, and with the walls as well as the tall windows in these buildings, it's quite defendable.
Absolutely. These compounds in the east have some pretty similar properties as well, though. A lot of these compounds on the southeast side, very defendable, a lot of sort of dead ground between them. Problem is, is that they're on the southeast side of the zone. There's a very low likelihood that this massive teams is actually going to be able to stay in the next 2 circles. They're probably going to have to move it some other direction unless it centers pretty much directly onto them. Meanwhile, while this is going on, though, still more teams coming in late, and this is not that bad. You know, since we have a Stalber ending, or a Stalber with about half of the zone in on the northern side, all these guys that are showing up late, unless they get really unlucky with their transition route, are probably going to be able to get out and play on foot just fine.
D-Master from Space Station Gaming get back in his vehicle and is driving to the east away from his teammates. Is this a split decision?
Huh, yeah, it definitely is. He's crashed.
For himself. Perhaps he tried to get an angle on those vehicles that he heard driving past. You see him looking in their direction, but I think he only has a UMP brought out, so it's not going to be too much damage for them. No, it's a full-on scar, but those vehicles are too far away from him to punish. Well, here's another one. Here's your boy Dre come past. Can he get a couple of shots?
This seems so aggressive. Like, I'm surprised that he's doing this either way, but at the very least, if they did decide to crash you, then he does have this compound locked down. And look at this. His team is actually coming in over here. So a bit of sort of a pseudo scout, pseudo aggro, pseudo split hold strategy coming in. Whatever it is, at the very least, this group will have a compound on the eastern edge going later in this game. But will it even stay in is the big question. Answer's probably going to be no.
Drum roll.
No, it's not even close. We got Stalber ending, boys.
Yeah, it is a hard swing once again away for the majority of the teams here, and so now they're going to have to take another rough transition phase, and just like Ghost, I expect to see more teams go up in flames through it, because the space in these zones is only getting smaller and smaller. As Naya is still in it, albeit on the hard edge, so we could see some people crashing in, but this is Team Gates holding down the warehouse south of Stalber, peeking out, more teams trying to come into their position, and so they're going to let some shots out, see if they can't do any damage to Nova, or at least push them away. It's gonna be Locknarb going up in flames. That's
my God!
Where is actually Richie? He's gonna run directly in there. That's gonna stop his momentum. And referee please also hits a rock. Don't worry about that. No one saw that.
Jeez.
Continuing their drive-by, Totality not too far behind.
Richie just saw like the lifeless body and the carcass of the vehicle is all just fallen by. Looks like Team Gates though is going to be able to get a second team cut out here. As you said, Totality is really cut out. They do have their vehicles as cover, but they are not going to be able to use them. The UAZ going up in flames. That Dacia not going to be able to start quickly as well. One errant peek and CeeLo could be blowing any one of their heads off.
Just trying to line up that shot, and there he goes. First shot does the charm, gets the initial knock. Can the revive come through? It's just a Dacia for cover. He's keeping his eyes set on that, keeping his eyes set under it. But he says he's going to pull out the AK, see if he can't get a spray down on the vehicle, perhaps have it go up in flames, because it is a smoke up to try and get the revive. And yeah, Terra actually readjusts himself just in case it doesn't be the case. But in readjusting himself, he's out of the smoke, has to jump down, barely able to survive below the rock. And he's going to allow his teammate to crawl to him instead.
It looked like for some reason the smoke was ineffective. He was still taking shots while inside and had fallen back south. Meanwhile, though, in Yasnaya, a really big fight coming out here between Render and the guys on City Destroy 13 on the south. They're able to get there right up in the sort of like a neighboring compound, but there's a lot of buildings, a lot of fences there in between. There might not be a push coming out, considering they still are in the zone. Type of storm as well coming in from the east side. Wildcard now making their push on the south side of Yasnaya. A lot of teams that are just trying to make their way in, but a lot of these edges are already taken, Cammy.
Have fun here from Weedsbox Rejects. He wants to go on the aggressive against Wildcard. He's got the AUG brought out. But
that's a Groza, dude. That's a lot scarier than an AUG.
That's a Groza. That's not an AUG. That's just a Groza. But he's going to take some shots up from the north, up from Duel. Able to get some nice eyes on him. So he has to prone down behind the UAZ, whose wheels are getting taken out as we speak. That vehicle pulled away from Wildcard. Let them think. Let Weedsbox Rejects think that, well, there's not that one member still hanging out there. But looking back over here onto the north, it is going to be, as you said earlier, set to destroy and render esports, and a little bit of a stare down. Fignaldo right now, the most forward of his team. Trying to peek outside of the windows to see if he can't catch someone.
Probably not going to be anything too crazy happening until the zone forces it to happen. The north side is what United actually getting quite a bit of shots landed onto them by Space Station Gaming from their southern side. It looks like with these hills, though, squads should be able to disengage for now. But man, like there are so many fights going around the edges that are just barely, they almost could happen, but it's just like there's not quite enough that are forcing the fights to happen. And because of that, with still 54 alive, no one really wants to take a full-on squad fight that could easily ruin your chances for the late game.
Ooh, Caden, he gets dropped by Pentalol. Don't know exactly where that was from. I think that may have been, that was down south on those yellows on the south side of that lake. So they're going to have to check themselves before they re-peek any of those directions again. And look at this, another hard swing, 3 in a row onto the west, marginally south side. And this is directly on top of NBS, which is somewhat good for them, but they're not in a lot of hard cover. In fact, most of their cover blocks off the south. So any engagement from the north, they're going to have to be really tricky on how they work that.
Is Kill gonna win 2 games in a row, dude?
Maybe.
But yeah, so looking at this new circle is gonna be forcing these players to move. Fignaldo is not in the zone. Render getting a lot of damage on him already, and you know this first push ineffective, but they gotta find something in here.
Ooh, Rip gets dropped. That's not a good start for them. Render Esports, so they don't want to go to the push though, because they're in the circle still, just barely. It's up to Set to Destroy to push into them, so they can just hold them off and try and gatekeep them. If Set to Destroy want to try and leave and wrap around, it's going to be a brutal transition to other teams, so they only have one direction that they can really go, which is north.
Both teams playing pretty passive, as Duel is going to be playing that west side, this sort of Overwatch role. Anyone that shows themselves on this left side is going to get lit up from those yellows atop the hill, which means they got to push on the opposite side of the building. This is really good for Render. They only got to look in one direction now, and it looks like Walt Jr.'s legs is doing a great job of holding this angle. Oh, Shuru able to sneak in the side of that building, though. Rift, though, peeking. It looks like he knows that someone's here, but not covering it quite well enough.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the members able to get into his building. And so now, Walt Jr. is already on the bail, and Mr. Blonapot taking the bottom floor defensive position does get immediately taken out. No revive able to come in as he gets fully killed. Oh, look at this. Now look, he gets dropped by Binlong in a trade, but then Binlong gets immediately traded back in return by Rift, who's on the full-on rush. They're not checking the top floor, though. They may have thought that Blown Apart was Walt Jr.'s legs. And so now Walt Jr.'s legs on a very nice angle does drop Rift. That leaves just Shuru left for his team.
Render only having dash up as well. Very, very bloody for both teams. But on this northeastern side is going to be more action as Totality trying to sneak their way in from the east, able to shoot a lot of teams in the back. But north of that as well, Nova, or at least the remnants of them, getting completely leaped on by Space Station Gaming. Richie in full retreat moved on west. And even further north of that, another squad fight happening. There's fights happening on every corner of this zone, Candy.
Right now, Wildcard, they were able to group up as 4 once again. They have to continue to push in. A very nice shot by Tumai is going to help open it up, but he gets immediately taken out by a frag. A second frag may be enough to get the follow-up kill onto him. Kill feed doesn't say yes. It says no, but they're able to get the revive on this dual R and keep Wildcard pinned down. The double revive Wildcard, though, looks like that is definitely a possibility, but they're going to have to move quick because the blue is behind them. They're on the slow side, but they still have the pressure before they make their way in. Totality now also make their own way in. They're taking shots, but whoever's shooting at them is also in a crossfire of their own. Snark back on the wild card. Spots out the revive coming through, but there's smokes out as well as that ridge to allow wild card to push up back onto this yellow.
Yeah, it looks like, and you know, for Duel in this squad 4, they don't really have a reason or an ability to push out here. They couldn't set these revives even if they wanted to. There's no trying to do it. But Wildcard, they do have to push in. They do make it into the white, and they do claim these ridges as well. So Duel not stopping Wildcard's push here. They just have too much cover. And now with both teams getting into the zone, this is going to be really awkward for when they got to leave in the next zone.
Look at this nade from Solid FPS. Is it going to hit? It does. Bills gets taken down. It's just Scylla left from his team. And Frolicker, well, he's lighting those UAZs up to try and catch anyone out who is standing a little too close to them, as well as stop any future rotations from happening.
This northeast side is going to be very important for who can actually walk away. It looks like that the guys on Team Gates are looking to not be one of them. CeeLo trying to hold these rocks. Mortify is pretty much in full-on placement strats, playing away from his team. Meanwhile, Envious getting the zone once again on the south side. They will be having a lot of gatekeeping that they have to do, but they have more than enough cover to do it, as looking at that duel across the river in a lot of trouble, getting pushed from not one but by two sides right now.
Yeah, they had to leave because the circle swung off of them, but they left before taking care of Wildcard. And now look at all these frags come out. The teamwork between Wildcard and Envious to the north was enough. And so that's going to be duel out super early after the so late into last game. Look at this little prodigy from the God Squad. Gets the drop on to Zampa and actually takes out Tempo Storm, who tried to swim across, but now they have to make their own way in through Envious.
Pretty important things going on right here as well. Shoot to Kill, who had a compound all game. The compound's still in, but it's only a couple of buildings. And that open ground to the southeast of this compound, very, very little cover. It's still partially in, but if they got to leave at any point soon, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. What's more problematic, though, is E United to the north there. They don't really have a clear transition route either. There's a lot of squads that, because of how little terrain there is to play off of here, there's just going to be a lot of fights that are breaking out over the little cover that's still left on every edge of the zone.
Yeah, you can see the two teams in the north, the United and Cloud9, getting ever so closely together, especially because the blue is moving in, but both of them have their eyes elsewhere, especially United, who are getting sprayed down by Shoot to Kill, but Vegas with an amazing Car 98 shot to take down It's Imagine, even drops his helmet. He's taken very low himself, though, so he needs to pop that med kit before he continues the run in. He does do that, but without a helmet of his own. He wants to make sure he gets dodged. He's swinging out the side, though. He knows that he's more than likely a dead man, but he's forcing this team to be distracted by him, forcing Shoot to Kill to shoot at him rather than the rest of his team, and this gives the rest of his team the ability to make it in. But with that down that he got, it looks like he found a safe little timing, able to make his way through this compound, at least has a little bit of cover. Does he want to go aggressive here?
It's so crazy that he's actually able to make this happen. If he can sneak in at this point, he could get something happening. I think he was not spotted out. Does not decide to take shots either. He needs to use Shoot to Kill to actually defend him right now. The zone at his back. He needs to go right now. The question is will he get spotted, or will he just let the zone overtake him? He's being very, very quiet, trying to make himself in a very odd timing. But It's Imagine might be able to hear him with where he's at right now.
Yes, he wants to be quiet, but he's taking damage from the blue this whole time, and It's Imagine definitely hears him at this point. Peeking around the side, popping a couple of health packs, but Vegas gets inside the circle just barely, able to prone down and even gets a hard wall to chill out behind. Open door means he can't cross. It means that he can't also take the time to heal because the rest of the push from Shoot to Kill is coming in.
Adam is on the right. It's Imagine cooking a frag. Oh, that looks pretty good. Runs away in time, though.
Jumps away and is able to dodge it. Prone's behind, no one watching the other side, but Adam swings around, expecting him to have run across because the call out was made. Vegas still can't heal up, just holding the angle, sees the tiny head in the small little pixel, lays out a couple of shots, but knows he can't stay there because he just gave his position away, switches back around to hold the angle against the door, expecting the push out. The thing is, though, he knows that he is not his team's last resort. But look at this. Caps does get a drop from another direction on his team, actually helping him out. I believe that is actually from the south. And so Shoot to Kill in a 4 versus 1, they're finding this to be a big of a struggle. And both of these groups do eventually have to move because this next circle is away from all compounds. It is on the coastline of the lake. Envious dead center. But look at this push out from God Squad coming into them. Envious trying to hold them off.
Yeah, whoever can control this little central coastline is going to be very important. It looks like Godswood again opening down, trading a lot of shots here, but no further downs able to be incurred by either squad. Pistola and Little Prodigy doing a good job for now, but they're currently having to worry about their north as well. The zone is shrinking, so if they don't focus their north and Shoot to Kill, could be on that northern flank. Looks like that the vehicle play will be being used here, but Envious, instead of looking at the vehicles, focused very much on the west side. Check Shooter falling down the hill, being launched off by the grenade, will be falling to the low ground, and Envious are just getting completely annihilated here in the center of the zone.
But here,
oh my God,
Shoot to Kill, or at least they try to. Two of them do get down due to vehicle explosions. Well, they make the rush in away from that compound and away from the lone member of E United, giving them so much trouble. Dropping the smoke down, able to take down Vegas in the meantime, as well as get the revive. Thankfully for E United, though, Jimmer is able to sneak his way in, but he may just barely have gotten spotted. Richie right now from Nova, also the last player of his team, but he is dead. Tries to run and does get spotted out. Solid FPS, doing a solid job of watching his flank, but now he himself is also the remaining player of Cloud9. Both these teams from the north, E United and Cloud9, too much to handle across that open field. Now they're taken down to 1 member each.
Two teams we're looking at, that's Wildcard as well as God Squad, but behind Wildcard is one sneaky beaky player from the Weezbox Rejects. He could ruin their day, or he could just use them saying, hey, protect me, there's no one behind you, why would someone even be here? Just do a lot of the work for me and give me like a 3rd or 4th place. We'll see if that actually happens, though. He was able to prone his way into the edge in a very, very sneaky spot. Envious as well, still able to cling on to hope. God Squad and Wildcard able to recognize each other as being two of the more notable threats, are focusing on a lot on each other, but there's still, with 6 teams alive, a lot of sneaky solo snakes on the edges of the zone.
Shimmer able to crawl in, but look at this. Another hardship to the
The play
southeast.
zone.
Directly on the wild card, but look at the push comes out already. So many drops
Oh
down.
my
3
God.
dead, 3 down. Not out, but still down from God Squad. It is just Little Prodigy left hanging out in the circle, but here comes the secondary attack from Shoot to Kill just to their north. Hiding in the smoke. Little Prodigy is alive for now. And actually, envious. Caden's the only one left of his team either. He's also taken down to 1. Jimmer gets dropped as well, bringing us down to just 5 teams alive. But here comes a full-on push from Shoot to Kill. They want control of this entire coastline. But he's perhaps running in between 2 solo players. They definitely hear him running around. Don't know who's going to be coming across first. Caden trying to hide next to a bush just below a ridge. Little Prodigy, though, does get discovered. It's one final nade to take out the rest of God Squad. And now it's just Caden left to stop this push from Shoot to Kill into the zone.
It's just him left on Envious. As you said, he has a big job ahead of him. Adam Bid's walking on the west side. He will be able to hear him on these rocks, but will he do anything about it is the big question. He certainly doesn't want to take any fights. He doesn't have to. And look at that wildcard taking a lot of shots on to the guys on Shoot to Kill. They're in a good endgame spot, but as you said, this solo snake could get 1 free kill. Not shooting yet. Is he gonna fire?
I don't know if he wants to make it.
You gotta shoot, right?
They're not checking his position, though. So as long as they walk past and they don't turn around and check him, they keep going over him. He can use them to springboard himself into this next circle. So he could be doing the exact same thing that Waylon is also doing. Waylon still behind this ridge, under this hill, waiting for Wildcard to defend his position.
These solos are so good, so smart. But oh, look at this. Caden getting 2 downs, getting 3. Oh, that's just a finish. Okay, so he does get 2. And now, whereas previously they were in one of the great spots to kill, is now down to just Adam. It's just 1 player. This play from Caden probably secured the win for Wildcard, who still has 3 up in dead center and one of the only spots in the zone that still has cover.
Adam Dids is hitting himself over not checking that corner as he was the first player pass, and they get punished for it. Wildcard dead center. All eyes on that direction, and Caden gets taken up by Adam Dids, so at least he gets a little bit of revenge onto that. But
look at that health bar.
Yeah, it is very, very low, and he only has bandages to work with.
5 alive right now. Wildcard know that there can't be that many people left up. They're actually pushing across this. This is real bad for Adam. He does not have first aid. He gets no helmet. Sharp Shot coming in from the left side. He hears him. Takes a couple of shots, but does not matter. Sharp Shot winning that engage anyway. Still 1 solo up. Wildcard know how good of a spot they're in. But the question is, where is he? We've been holding the southern side of the zone for so long. He couldn't possibly be there, right? So yeah, right now, Wildcard, it's probably a matter of time, but it's pretty awesome how Waylon was able to sneak in here on the south side.
We're going to get a bunch of face palms from Wildcard when they recognize where Waylon has been this entire time. You saw them push forward full steam ahead because, like, there's no way no one's behind us. We're just going to bring forward. And so now I wonder how long it's going to take them to comb back onto his position or spot. Perhaps with the elevated vision with these rocks, they'd be able to spot him out earlier. But Waylon, he's just chilling. He is perfectly fine. He recognizes that he at least has a high placement. Don't know if he knows that it's a 1v3 at this point. Don't know if he knows that it's a second place spot. But now he hears the footsteps come up onto his position, trying to trace it with his crosshair. Doesn't spot Pride just yet, but Pride should be turning around. But here comes the blue. It forces him to stand up. He wants to get a knock and perhaps a kill before he dies. Pride, with a nice flick onto him, stays alive and finalizes that win for Wildcard with 14 kills.
Really good showing by Wildcard. They didn't have a compound. All they had was that natural cover, and they still took a lot of really, really good fights, took out a lot of those solos, and they didn't overextend. That's the really important part. They just sat there, they took the fights they had to, and the kills just walked in front of them. That's the great aspect of a good position. If you have a good spot, you don't need to worry about taking fights. The fights will come to you, and you will be in a great spot to take them. Wildcard putting on a clinic that game.
Well, just that being said, though, if you're in a good spot, you have to make sure to defend it, because if you're the better spot that you're in, the more likely you are to be attacked to try and get that spot taken away from you. So definitely a good job on maintaining that. And 14 kills, that's marginally above average for EC. So a good number of kills, and that's going to give them a good number of kill points to help bolster their score by the end of this series.
Great drops from our snakes as well. Soul Stress getting so strong here. Either way, that was game 2. Hope you all enjoyed it. We got 2 more coming to you soon. We're just going to go take it to a short break while we get those games set up. Game 3 coming soon.